Okay, we are here. Hello, people. Now, the last time I did this, nobody could hear me. So, just checking. Am I audible? Excellent. That is good news for us all. And Josh, you can hear me. And can people hear Josh?
I can hear you. Can y'all hear me?
Can people hear Josh? Yes,
Yay!
excellent. Okay, this is amazing. The tech is working. It is.
Wow,
It
wow,
is
wow.
with us. So that's excellent. Um, Amazing. Well, I mean, honestly, that's now I can do the same thing with. Can you see us both? But I feel like the odds are, if you can hear us, you should be able to see us as well. I can make Josh louder. I have the ability to do that, uh, and I say that I have the ability to do it. Yes, surely I have the ability to do that.
I don't think you being louder than me has ever actually been an issue before. There's something funny about this.
Let's see. I really think I can do it. Okay, so let's see. Currently on lock volume. I must have advanced. Okay, here, people. Like you can see my thing. Okay, guest star. This is Josh is the guest star, and he's at 8 decibel boost. I'm going to give him a 9 decibel boost. Okay, how about that, people?
How do I sound now to everyone?
Booming, probably. Shockingly loud. Um, okay, so hi,
A little
a
bit more?
bit more. People are saying Josh needs more. He needs more. He needs more. Let's go up to 10. 10.
And we're up to 10. How is this?
12. They're
Pedro
saying
really wants
12.
12.
People, do you know what you're
That's
asking for?
scary.
Like this would be okay. I'm popping him up to 12. Uh, okay, Josh is now at
Hello.
12, and if this is
Testing.
not acceptable, then we know we blame Pedro. That is definitely. Oh, and also MDO. So why is my microphone quality worse? Don't say things like that. That is
Scaring us.
absolutely. Why would my microphone quality be worse?
You can talk, Pedro. Hello.
Let me see.
Testing 1, 2, 3, 4. Trolls in a tantrum cause terrible trouble.
The what? The what? The what? What did you just say?
Oh, it's a
Tantrum.
quote that I can't forget. Trolls in a tantrum cause terrible trouble. I want to say it's from Artemis Fowl.
That is extremely cool. Loudness is fine, except Pedro really likes your voice and he is going for more. And people are asking why mine is so bad. So bad. So, does it not sound right? I can unplug it and replug it in again, which can help. Test. It should
It
be the same
definitely
mic.
sound like you're using.
It's the same mic. I wonder if maybe somehow more tin mic. Well, this is the fun, right? Like, hey, why don't we? Yeah, input. Yes. For some reason, it switched to a different thing. How about that?
Oh no.
Better? Okay, okay. It was my
Is it better?
computer. I need somehow to say don't use these things as a mic. Okay, so let's do it. Let's do it, people. So okay,
Whoa.
here we are. We are here. We have successfully debugged some sound issues. And hey, Fayaz, lovely to see you. Arash, you're here. Amazing. Damien. This is going to be a great chat. Aussie boy, good to see you. Like every single one of you, I'm really delighted you're here. Okay, so we are going to build a Nuxt module, and basically, I don't think we have a super. Oh, Chakia, welcome. We don't have a super clear idea of what we're going to do. At least I don't. Thank you, Aussie boy. And Josh,
Wow.
also, I told him not to prep. I was like, Josh, do not read the docs. So he hopefully doesn't know anything about what we're about to do. So okay, so I think our scope is emojiblast, which is I think a library that you made, Josh.
Yes.
You have
Yes,
created
that is
this,
correct. The
and
website I should note was designed by a friend, but I made the underlying library.
okay, cool. Uh, and okay, I pinned something, so hopefully that will work. And okay, so we basically have something. Let's create a module for it so that users of Nuxt can very easily like add emoji like fireworks into their Nuxt apps. This is great. Okay, and maybe even install it by default in new Nuxt apps. Okay, so just kidding. Okay, let's create a new module, and I'm going to go to me, and we're going to create a new module. So Nuxy is the CLI that powers Nuxt, and so you can create a new Nuxt app this way. But you can also use a template, and the template can be like a GitHub repo, which you do like that, or just also a repository, like a branch that already exists. And these live, by the way, in Nuxt Starter, this repo here. And it has a range of branches, which are all templates that you can use. And they can be seen like in this templates directory here. So this is what you can use. And so we're going to go ahead with the module template. So we're just going to say T module, and we're going to call it Nuxt emojiblast. Sound good? Cool.
That sounds good.
PNPM.
Hell
Josh,
yeah,
do you have an
PNPM.
opinion on package managers? I've never asked you this.
I do. I think they're all great, and I personally prefer PNPM.
Okay. Cool. Okay.
Do you want more clickbait?
Yes. Joshua Goldberg, key open source contributor, slams NPM in unprecedented real-time disclosure. Okay. So here we go. We've got a fresh project. And oh, look at that ESLint config sitting there so beautifully. I'm actually just going to make it a .js file because why not? And right, okay, so let's get going. I think we actually do have deps installed. Yeah, they're installed. Okay, so the thing I always did you want to see the? Oh, and I'm going to go ahead and just push this up to. We're going to just so people can follow along. So we'll say init from template, and we're going to call this Nuxt emoji blast. So anyone who wants to see can. I'm just going to move this out of view. So, and this is one of the things that I don't particularly like when you click push to GitHub. It does this. So it creates an HTTPS. This is probably a setting for this. So let's just remove that. Remove origin. And we'll just...
Why don't you like HTTPS?
I prefer SSH. Because then I don't have to enter then I manage my SSH password with the login manager once rather than every push having to re-authenticate. And okay, get branch. There we go. Okay, so here we are. We have a new Nuxt module, and so what we're going to do is just very quickly do some search and replaces, and we're going to call it Nuxt emoji blast. We can transfer this to your namespace later, Josh, but for now. And we're going to call my module Nuxt emoji blast. This is normally the stuff that I don't bother doing on a stream because it's probably a silly thing to do, but there we go. And what is it? I have to look around my camera, which is blocking just that tiny corner of my screen. Okay, so I think we are good to go. And I always like to start with running the dev server in the playground. And the first thing that we can do basically is integrate Emoji Blast with Nuxt rather than worrying about or thinking about it as a module. So we can figure out like, what do you need to do to make Emoji Blast work with Nuxt? And then we do that. Actually, I'll stick it on the right side of my screen. And then this can go on the left. And that way we can basically create the module around the project. So by default, the module template ships with a little playground, which is like a tiny Nuxt app, which you can use both as a sandbox for people and also like for testing. So Toby, nice to see you. And also answering Pedro, the terminal at the bottom, I do control like accent. And it opens and closes it like that. So this character, what is that? know what that's called, but control whatever opens it for you in VS Code. You can also get it like this, new terminal, create new terminal, and that will open it too. Okay. Oh, here, this one. I don't use iTerm, by the way. This is Warp. I also love Alacrity, which is an amazing terminal. And I often use, if I'm on Alacrity, I use tmux to manage my different sessions and preserve. Okay, so I use Warp or Alacrity, and I use tmux on Alacrity. And also, you might be able to find them on there. That web page might explain them. Okay, so let's get going. So emojiblast, Josh, tell me, how do we use it? Or I should read the docs, I guess.
Which would you prefer?
Which would you prefer?
I sense it's the latter.
We're going to add emojiblast. Okay. And we basically have got some stuff, and we can just directly use it. Cool. So start the dev server again. And we add it, and we have it in our app.view, I guess. And we import it, and then we have this. So we'll have a button, I guess. Do you ever use Vue, or is that it's a foreign? It's a thing that you don't particularly.
I like all the frameworks and UI libraries and things that are either or both. But no, I haven't used Vue in ages. But I'm really good at reading code and thinking I know what it does. Like the Vue is very readable, right? So this all kind of makes sense so far.
Cool. Okay, so we've got this, and then there are some docs and demos. Super cool. Okay, so basically we have some buttons. They appear to be working.
Nice.
Okay.
That was
Cool.
fast.
You always like it when a module works. Okay, so emojiblast, that produces loads of them, I guess. Does it ever stop?
On a timer.
Okay.
Yes. Well, not the way you've configured it, but it returns a function that can be called to stop it. In theory, it could. In practice, I'm
going to refresh the page. Okay. So, cool. So let's see. What are we going to do? Oh, Toby, you're so kind. Okay, so Toby just tweeted about us. He said a nice thing about
thanks,
you.
Toby. Also, hi,
Josh,
Toby.
And also me. So that was nice. So basically, okay, so we have this. So what is the best experience for a user? Someone who's going to use emojiblast. I guess the first thing is we can auto import it, so you can just use it wherever, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's one thing. If someone wants to just custom use emojiblast, they can import it themselves. Like for me, in my mind, the value of what I've been trying to promote with it is actually an integration that's called Konami emojiblast. For the viewer's sake, I'll say that the Konami code. Daniel, do you remember off the top of your head what the Konami code is?
I have Google at my disposal. No, I don't. I have no idea what it is.
Up, down, down, left, right, BA, before your screen taints my impressive recollection. This is one of the earliest Easter eggs ever included in a game. So Konami emojiblast hooks up a JS library that detects the Konami code to start or stop emoji blasts. So that would be my recommendation of no config needed. Just if someone includes this module, they get Konami emoji blast included in their page, which I think is one of the greatest, most fun things you can do on a website.
Okay, that is super cool, and that should be also very easy to do. Okay, so let's basically pop over to our module, and we basically have emoji blast. Config key is how you configure this in your Nuxt config, basically. Whatever that is where we're going to configure it. So in our playground, we have this module added. And so we would be able to do, not my module now, but emoji blast, and we would have some options there. Except we've only just changed it. And so I think because we're developing the module and running the playground at the same time, we would have to restart the playground in order to trigger this being updated. But basically, if we do that, we should have type support for it. So emoji blast in a second should now be typed as a valid key in Nuxt config. And so whatever our options are, they'll flow through there. So we want our options to be, so Konami is true, right? Or Konami code, what do you think?
Probably Konami code.
Okay.
Less chance
So
of a lawsuit.
by default, we're going to enable it. And we're going to do a couple of things. So we're going to add some auto imports. So add imports sources. And we're going to say from emojiblast. We're going to add, are there only those two? Oh no, there's physics as well. So we're going to add emojiblast and we're going to add emojiblast singular. And then I think the default physics, it's not clear that that is about emoji blasts. So we could do something like as that.
Yeah, we could. Could you actually do me a favor and go to the demo page in Emoji Blast, scroll some arbitrary amounts down, and then try out the demos? I think they'll explain why those exist.
Oh, there. Cool. Demo. Like inverse gravity. Ooh.
Then the more you scroll, the more ridiculous they get. Shout out Carly, who
Tour
was
de
credited in
France.
the footer for coming up with all these. These also show all the different options you can use with Emoji Blast. It's weirdly configurable.
I love it. That's not even like what? What is that? Okay. What is this? What is this? Okay. That's incredible. Like that's like a full blown animation thing. Okay, Fishy, nice to see you. This is madness. Okay. Whoa.
My favorite is the UFO or Nope one.
Yeah. Like I just want to play with all of these now. Okay, so which one is this at the bottom? The Nope. Okay, I'm going to try the Nope one. No. I can't believe that. That's crazy. Okay.
I think I actually broke that. It's supposed. I think that might. In the old site, it was correctly centered. Well, you found a bug. Congrats.
Well, it's probably because the browser is. It probably is centered in the like it if it weren't for the. Oh, I see the cow. It might just be that I have a different emoji than you, or a different. Okay.
Maybe.
This is super cool. Let's see what the other exports of Emoji Blast are. Or is it just those three? Oh, I see there's some stuff. So do we want to export all of these, basically? I guess we could. Why not? So we've got
I'm wondering
these.
if it would make sense to export like a default object.
That does make sense, but it would be less tree shakeable, right? Or are they never tree shaken? I guess they're never tree shakeable. Probably.
I think you're right. I think the way you did it is more tree shakeable. Yeah. Okay.
Okay.
Probably why I did it that way to begin with.
Okay. So basically we have these things. And this one. And I'm just going to very quickly just map them across into this thing. So we basically map it to be name, and then as sorry, there's probably a better way of doing this, but this is super simple, right? Okay, so that should give us our auto. What's going wrong here?
Missing colon after as.
Nice. And we also wanted, yeah, those are still there. Okay, great. So we have auto imports hopefully working now. And if I now remove these, we should be able to, it should just still work. Yeah, okay, so it's now working. Nobody needs to do it. We now have like access to Emoji Blast, and also all of these defaults are just known to our editor. Cool. So now we need the Konami code integration. So we're going to do that with a plugin, I think. So what we can do is we can say if defaults Konami code, stop it. if default's Konami code, then we're going to add a plugin that registers this. So if options, Konami code. Oops. This is going to be not underscored. Why is that not there? Oh, we need to say it's provided. Okay. So then we're going to add this plugin, and then we can do something, and we're going to call it Konami code. And basically, we're just going to inject a little bit of code into the person's runtime app. And I guess we need to figure out how to do that. Do you already have like an integration or idea of how we would detect this?
Like how to detect the Konami code, you mean? Yes, if you go to the package Konami emojiblast, that does that. There's an API, and there's also just like a JS file you can include.
So you already have everything here. Like there's very little to build. Like this stream is going to be over in like 3 minutes. Okay, so we have
it's going to be 20% you configuring it, and then 80% you just mucking around with the API to make fun emoji things.
Okay, that's very cool. Okay, let's add it. So we have this dependency as well, and we have that's weird.
That might be bad. I might not have published that package. Oh, sorry. Give me a. I forgot to. I renamed this thing. It used as I do things locally. It used to be called Emoji Explosion, which I thought is a much more fun name, but no one ever remembered
Is that
like what is that? Yeah.
It's
so
working.
Let me just
rename to emojiblast. But did that work? The Konami bit.
So Emoji Blast was the core thing. Konami, Emoji Explosion was the core. Konami Emoji Explosion was the integration. So I'm just publishing the package now, and Konami Emoji Blast should work. If Konami Emoji Blast doesn't work, then Konami Emoji Explosion will.
Okay, like this is going to be a heavy package. It's going to come with like 5 different packages all implementing the same thing. Okay, let's try this one more time. Konami emoji. No, not yet. I basically have to.
Just published it. Okay, it should be live now.
Interesting.
What are you doing? What is happening?
Is there any chance that you've published it with a wrong? Okay. Did you build it?
Konami.
Like, did you run pnpm publish or did you run npm publish?
I ran pnpm build, pnpm tsc, npm publish.
So I think it's somehow got a workspace dependency there, which is throwing off the install. Yeah, so it has a. That's why you have to use pnpm publish, and it will rewrite it.
You're right.
Gotta have you back on the stream, Josh. You're right. I'm like, okay, I can live with this. Sort of the validation is good.
Yeah, this is great. I'm here to serve, you see. You're right. Thank you. I've never actually set up package publishers in a monorepo with pnpm because why not? All right, so I just pnpm published it. I want to actually. I've never used change sets in a monorepo. Like I set it up myself. Okay, this time I did pnpm publish.
Okay, and it's 0.5.3 now.
Yes.
Yeah, baby. It's downloading.
Works?
Those dependencies. Well, can't say for sure, but I am optimistic.
The README still has the...
Okay. So we have Konami Emoji Blast. This is great. Now, we basically are adding this plugin, which is responsible for setting up the Konami code. And so to do that, we actually don't have a huge amount to do. So we're just going to do import, what is it, from that. So we have something like initialize, yeah. And that's presumably it. Okay, so basically, we are going to just run that. And probably we want to do that once. So Nuxt plugins basically run synchronously they run synchronously in several environments. They run on the server and they run on the client. We don't want to do this on the server. It will die. So we're going to make this a client-only plugin. And you can do it by calling it .client, or you can also like pass mode client, like pass an object and do something like mode client and make it only run on the client. So this means it won't be in the server build, which is what we probably don't want it to be there. And the second thing is that because they run synchronously before your app starts, it makes sense probably not to initialize Konami Emoji Blast from the first possible second, blocking the rest of the app, but only initialize it once the app is hydrated. So to do that, we can use this on Nuxt ready. Come on Nuxt. Oh, why is that not imported? That's anyway what we want. We're going to do on Nuxt ready, and that's basically going to wait for Nuxt to be mounted, and then it's going to call request animation frame, and then it's going to do this. So let's just run our dev server again. Let's see if this works. No, not that. Where are we? Yeah. Okay, so now left, right, up, down. No, the other way around.
No, wrong. Up, down, left, right, BA.
Okay. BA. Up, down, left, right, BA. Yay! It worked.
Yeah.
Okay. So that's super cool.
Nice.
Which means it's all working. Cool. So basically we have implemented our first version of the module, which automatically sets up the Konami code. Cool. And seems good. We'll just say like, for documentation purposes, we'll stick that in there. And we will remove this. So we've basically done it all. Josh, this is super fast. Okay. Feet add emoji blast, auto imports, and Konami auto registration. Cool. I'm going to push those up in case anybody wants to follow along and see what we've built. Right. So now we, I don't know, build something fun with it, port some demos across.
I'm actually wondering, right now, Konami Emoji Blast doesn't have the ability to either be triggered manually or to take in options. So we could, if, add those to Konami Emoji Blast if you want to completely change direction. We could mess around, with the options in the Nuxt module. Those are the only two things that come to my mind is next.
Yeah. Okay. So like you think maybe, so I mean, we have the initialize. This is probably not. Let's see. We have, so Emoji Blast, GitHub, come. And basically in here, in this Konami Emoji Blast. Oh yeah. Should this live in the monorepo? Like rather than a separate module, it should be in the.
I think so.
Yeah, it should. Okay, so basically we can port it across, right?
Yeah, actually, I wanted to ask someone or you about that. Right now, I have, as you can see just above your mouse, I have a React integration because I personally just so happen to have a history of React. And then I also have like an Astro integration and a TypeDoc integration. I would imagine that it would probably be useful.
Okay, sorry,
it just loads the JS file.
Yeah. Okay.
It's really simple. I made this a long time ago before I had the ability to write complex code. I've been a terrible programmer ever since. Yeah, so that's probably not the right way of doing things, but I imagine it might be useful to have like a Vue integration. Like, I don't know really how Vue lifecycle management does, but.
So what would it do? Like, so what because basically, to be honest, Emoji Blast has a very straightforward API. As in,
yeah,
it worked. It just worked. Like the only thing we've basically done is added auto imports, which Vue doesn't have by itself, and automatically initialized. So what else would we want? Would we want like an Emoji Blast component? Like, because there might be some more things that we could do, maybe with the Nuxt module. So like a component that like triggers the Emoji Blast somehow. So you could do something like, I don't know, could render a slot, and then whatever's in the slot, or maybe like a directive, that we could have a directive. So yeah, that might be the way to do it in Vue. And we can build it to start with in Nuxt, and then we can sort of figure out how we might do that more broadly. So basically, for a directive, we will do it like this. So we'll create a new one called directive, and we'll say true, just for testing. And then we'll say, like, if we have this directive option, we're going to register directive. Cool. Obviously, I'm amazing at sort of naming things. So we're going to create this. We're just going to copy this and create a new one, directive. And what it's going to do is going to register a... I'm going to just reload my VS Code because this should be typed for me. I'm just... Why is this not typed? There should be in my tsconfig. Oh, one thing you have to do, you have to run this dev prepare step, and I don't know why I didn't do it. Okay, so now that should be fine. Yeah, okay. So basically what we want to do here is we can access the Vue app. Now this thing will ultimately, whatever we build now, we can extract. Nicholas, Nicholas, nice to see you. An emoji implosion. Well, well, well. And thank you also for the compliments, GW Lab and Fishy. That's very kind of you. Okay, so we can basically do this. So you can register directives. Now directives have, this would be emojiblast, like this. And they basically get access to the V node and the life cycle of it. So like they can do various things. And you can also pass things to them. So, and I think this feels like the Vue integration that you were looking for. So what we would do, it would be something like, I'll just do a console log at the moment just to show how it works. So we would do, like we've got that element, we're going to say console log L. So there we are. And we also get access to this second thing, I think, which is the binding. Maybe not. We should get access to the binding. Yeah, binding V node and the previous V node. Okay. Those things. And we're going to log them all.
Parameters. Oof.
Like this. Most people would never use them all, but you've got access. Like, so basically, the way we would now use this directive that we've registered is in our app. We would do something like button v emojiblast, like this. V emojiblast. Okay, so this is now just going to. It's actually should just automatically log this in the console. So where's my web browser? If we open up our playground again and open the console, we should see that it's logged this object, right? So it's logged all of that. So basically, just registering that directive now gives us access to the underlying element. Now, I wonder what we can do with emojiblast. So by way of direct DOM stuff. So we have like emojiblast as a thing. So we have some options, presumably. And so we can hit the, could we do something to a particular element or?
Yeah, a couple options. There's a container option. So you could do like keep it within that container, which the demo doesn't do, but could. You could also change the starting XY coordinate to be like either the events center or the click. Yeah, the event center or the elements center.
Yeah.
You could take the text content of the element and then turn that into a set and then map each character into the equivalent emoji. So like A becomes the A emoji. Amazing. Or even, you could probably just do strings. Actually, I think it's just strings.
Okay, there's so many things we could do here. Okay, XY chords of element. And what we could also do, what else were you suggesting?
XY chords of either the element or the event.
Event.
I think it's easier to do the event because for some reason I remember having a hard time. You have to do like a loop to get the actual element chords. Oh yeah, and do it within that element, like set the element as the container.
Okay. So the thing, this binding thing here. So the v node, so the element is the DOM element. The v node is like a specific virtual DOM node. So it's just a JavaScript object which has information about the node that's going to be rendered here. But the binding is the thing that we actually set. So we would do something like interface emojiblast directive options, and we would take that here as our directive, and then we get access to them in binding dot value. No, maybe I've put this in the wrong place. Directive T and V, and T is let's just try doing this. We should get access to binding dot value. Yeah, there we go. So value now, I think, should be the options. Oh, but there are none. Okay. So basically now we can sort of set some options and actually get them here and use them to decide what we're going to do with this particular element rather than creating multi-directives. And so then the way you pass directives to to something like this, you have several things. So you can access modifiers and then the value. So we could, just to show you what they look like, okay, so if we are commenting all of that out, and basically if we had the web browser here, and we were to say like dot hello, then we would have something like this, where we're going to see that the modifiers say hello equals true. Okay, so that dot hello, this is like Vue like core stuff, which most people never probably. But basically, so this hello thing is one way of passing information. The other is like the equals bit here. So we could say it's 42. And so if I then refresh that, we're going to see that we have a value now. So the directive has a value, which is a JavaScript object or a JavaScript expression. You could do something like, you know, physics.
I know what I want us to do.
Okay. Speak on.
Just pass that object directly to emojiblast, and then as an object value to test out, pass an object containing emojis and then an array of your favorite emojis.
Okay.
Because you can customize which emojis get sent to emojiblast.
Okay. So, okay, I see. So just pass this directly to emojiblast. And so this thing here, the hello, I was thinking it might be like a click, like what event triggers it. Is that fair? Like, because otherwise, how do we know when to trigger it? So you could do like emojiblast.click. Does that seem like a reasonable like API?
Yeah.
Okay.
I just break changes constantly in all my projects, so I don't really, have any qualms with a bad API.
Okay. Cool. Okay. So we basically need to do this, and so we're going to say this in before mount, and we're going to get all of this stuff, except the L will probably not be present yet. This will be HTML element. Actually, it might not be. Anyway. So we're going to basically register an event handler. Interesting. So there might be a better way of doing this, but for now, I think we can just directly do it. So like l.add event listener, and we're just going to say like binding.modifiers. So interesting, because they chain. So okay, so for const event in binding modifiers, because I guess they can be set to false. So if binding modifiers event, then l add event listener event, And we would do something like const listener is that. So we'll register this thing, and that should register all of the listeners. And we also then need to do something. Oh no, we need to pull this out. Maybe how about vnode dot. This is probably not what I should do, but anyway, I'm just going to set that. This is not what I should. Basically, we need to unregister it, right? So we have like before unmount, and we're going to want to do exactly the same set of things, where we're going to pull out this, remove event listener, and we need to access the event listener, so this would probably be fine. We'll figure out a better way of doing that in a second. Okay, and then we basically want to, these are the things we want to do. And we'll drop the mountain thing. Okay, so in here, we want to just, you said directly pass everything to emojiblast. So what we want to do is emojiblast binding dot value. And basically this should, well, let's just see if this works, right? So, oh, what's this going on? Okay, so basically we have this view emoji blast, and that should just trigger, great. So basically it's working. So we've registered this thing, and now you said we could test it by passing something here. And so what would we do? What would we pass?
The easiest actually would be like a emoji count of like a particular number, just to see that it does that. So like 2 or 3 or something small, just to be easy to read.
Like that?
Yep.
Nope.
Well, that doesn't seem to be right.
Okay, so basically, so I guess the first thing, I just need to, like, typing would be useful, right? So, and we can get type support for this. So yeah, emoji count, it's a function, maybe?
It is either a function or a value. You can pass a function to have it executed each time the blast triggers, which is useful if you have the repeated blasts.
Okay.
Hey, there we go.
But I'm, yeah, manually
Close.
doing it.
Yeah.
So if I get rid of that and say this, okay, that is fine.
Oh, there we go.
Okay, I think that the issue was that we did a hot module reload, and so it didn't update for us the binding, because I think probably we would need to hook into something like the updated hook. So basically, so this is working fine. So it is passing the binding value, but I think we would want to type the directives. So I think we have a way of doing that from before we go too much further. So we have something like we must have a way of doing this. Okay, Vue.js and directives, TypeScript. Nope, directives, custom directives, and we must have declare some kind of way of augmenting this. This must be possible. Okay, Vue.js core.
Side note, someone just filed an issue on Emoji Blast. If BRAWARU is here, awesome. Thank you for doing that. This is why I stream, to have bugs filed on me.
This feels like...
There they are!
This feels like that is the same question we're asking, but but I feel like maybe asked. Okay. Mm-hmm. Aha. Okay. We might be able to do. So if in our app we can do something, I think like this. So const directive v test is something like we're just going to say it's a directive. So directive, come on, import directive from view. Oh, lang ts, of course. So we have we have vtest. It's going to be a directive unknown, and Bob has got to be true, and we're just going to do this. And I think if I then use this up here, oh, I somehow removed. Anyway, I think if I use this up here, I should be able to get type support for it. If I do like v test, yeah, so it's showing up for me. And I think it's even going to force me to do Bob, right? So Vue has detected that there is this global variable called vtest. And so what I wonder is if I do this, I obviously haven't done this before, but something like I do this, okay. Declare global const v emojiblast, and I'm going to say that it's this. Okay, need to import it from Vue. And I wonder if that's now, this is just a guess, that maybe, no, it's not working. It needs it to be in the local component. So let me just see. I have access to vtest. No, I don't anymore. Oh, okay, come back, put it back. Okay, so I have vtest, which exists. If I click it, I feel like basically there is an interface for this in the form of components. So I can do something like Nuxt welcome, and I get global types for it. And it's coming from this, like it takes me all the way, but it's coming from this global components interface, which is on Vue runtime core. So I have this thing that I can augment global components. And what I want is to, and I also can set global properties like component custom properties. So I also want to be able to do this with directives. And it feels to me like it should exist. Like there should be a type for registering global directives, but I just don't seem to get it. Component custom options.
Well, Daniel, as a professional TypeScript developer, may I suggest using an any?
It works fine. So like it's just not typed. So at the moment, this is fine. Like it is any. I can't believe it's. I want it to be better typed. Anyway, I think it's possible, but we might just need to add we might just need to type the like add an interface into Vue itself that allows for augmentation. Like I genuinely think this is just a missing, like it's just a missing feature that needs to be there. Okay, and I believe they can be typed because they are being typed. If you have a look at vtest, Vue Language Tools is typing the directive because I've provided it locally here, and it's not doing that for this one because it's not looking in the global namespace. It's only looking in the file. But if we just provided a native way for Vue to declare directives, I'm sure Velar could easily merge them and declare them at the top. And it feels like that would be a nice thing to do. So the fact is this works fine. I'm just looking to improve the type. And I did try the auto import. So I tried sticking it here with this thing. And I could also, I'll try that putting it directly in here because it's possible that it's possible that it is just not in the scope of the thing. So you might well be right about that. Let's just see, does this work? No. So just putting it in the global scope isn't enough. It actually has to be a variable like in the return type. Ooh, what is this? Josh. Type
just
directives.
Googling.
Well, yeah, so directives can be typed, which is like this one is typed and is used, but I think the question is that it can be global. Oh, I see, global directives. Okay,
Did I find it?
maybe, but I didn't see them when I imported it from Vue, because I wanted to check global components. Like we have global components. We don't have, I think, global directives. Let me see, because this might have been reverted. Let's try it again. So why would it just never fully component custom directives? Okay, maybe that's it. Component custom directives. From Vue runtime core? No. Okay, what actually got merged? Global directives. And that got merged in Vue runtime core. But the thing is that it obviously has to have been removed at some point because it's not there now. So how would we find out if it's been renamed? So we would find out if it's been renamed because it would be present in API defined component. So if I open Vue's source code and we just have a look. Oh, you're saying it's just not released yet.
Framework author bingo card. Pops open the source code, needs a feature in the next version. What else is there?
Is this boring, Josh? Sorry. This is not
No, this is fascinating. I'm really enjoying this. It's so nice to see the same stuff I have to do day to day in a different, section of the ecosystem. Like if you just find and replace like Vue with ESLint, this is my life right here.
Okay, so yeah, exactly. Like it's totally, I get it. Okay, so basically, okay, so this exists and like, yeah, originally created in 2021 and it's just merged and just about to go in. That's extremely cool. And this also, yeah, okay, I was thrown off by the fact that this was 2021, but it's also, or is this the same thing? It is the same PR. Okay, so it is just not yet released. So, okay, super cool. Right, so that's fantastic. So, like, it's always nice when you sort of find a need and it's already sort of implemented. Only thing is that obviously we don't get it yet. So, what we can do is something like, well, we can ignore that. I think we just ignore it. And why is this? Oh, this is complaining because I made it lang.ts, I think. And it's telling me that the payload doesn't match. This is a, that is what I need to do in order to satisfy that. Okay. So, okay. So basically we're just going to go ahead and wait until Vue 3.4. But we can, I think, already implement the solution. So the solution here is that we have to augment a global directives from Vue runtime core. And so we would do that like this. We would say declare, oops, for goodness sake. Declare module view runtime core, interface global directives, and then we would do what's it, v emojiblast, I guess. No, just emojiblast, and we would say directive. There we go. So that is going to now be a typed thing that should just work as soon as this new version comes out. And now we can also, I think, we could just directly set this on L, maybe. The event listener, like the thing that we are I'm trying to think where to store this in a way which is reasonable. Do we have like a context?
Do we need to store it anywhere?
Don't we? I'm thinking we want to be able to unregister the event listener. So we have to have the access to the same function.
Could you just like use a variable?
Yes, but there'll be lots
like
of these being registered, so it has to somehow be bound to the component. Do you know what I mean?
Could you use
a map? A map. Maybe that's a good idea, like a weak map. So const listeners is new weak map, and basically we say is this, and what we do is we listeners set L listener, and then what we do is we hopefully that will aid us in so, and then here we do basically const listener equals if not listener return, and then basically we can now unregister it. Nice idea. Okay, so cool, and we don't need the vnodes, and we don't need them there either. And you wanted to do some other things, right? So I got distracted on typings. So we now have, hopefully everything should still work. Let's see. Oops. Oh, I added Nuxt welcome. So it should still work. Yeah.
Nice.
Great. So we then want to, what else do we want to do? The XY coords of the event. Did you think that was a good idea? So we could do something like...
I think that's a good idea, yeah.
So we will allow overriding, but otherwise we're going to do we have coords? Position.
Position, yeah.
Now for this we can use a cool utility from JS, because basically the user might have provided a position for one but not the other. I don't know. Let's add it explicitly. And we also probably need to specifically add the runtime core as we're augmenting it. Or maybe not. Okay, let's see. We specifically, okay, we're going to use defu like this. So defu, and then these are our overrides, our defaults and our overrides. So the thing that is has highest priority goes at the top. And then we are going to pass an option of our defaults. So our default position is going to be x is l dot, what is it? Get binding. So what is it? Like const is l dot get bounding client rect, right? That's what we want. And we want to do something like x and y and just pass them as x and y like that. Seem reasonable to you, Josh?
Yeah, so that's using the elements coordinates, not the events coordinates.
Oh, right. Well, what should be the default?
Either works for me. So actually, the issue filed now 22 minutes ago on emojiblast is on the emojiblast website. The click me button uses the event coordinates, but as Bararu rightly pointed out, if you use a keyboard event, it's 0, 0. So I actually like using get bounding client rect. I forgot it existed and and didn't use it myself. Look at that, great.
Cool.
Now the problem
Okay.
is, it's the top left corner, I think, of the button.
Yeah. So we would want the center, right? So we would want to do something like width and height, and basically do something like x is going to be x plus width divided by 2. No, x plus width divided by 2, and y is going to be y plus height divided by 2. Yes. Okay, now they're coming from the center. So we have a good default option. And excellent. I feel satisfied with this. And it does let the user override it. So, and even only just one. So we could do something like position, x is 500, 400 or something. And now, maybe I have to reload. Let's try that again. Yeah, so now it's letting me override one item, and I could presumably do the other as well. Only, yeah, seems fine. I see. The issue is that the listener is defined once, but this should update if it's maybe a HMR bug in view. Like I feel like I shouldn't need.
That's
to
another framework. That's another bingo right there. Finds a bug.
Blaming someone else because I feel that someone else is responsible for this behavior. That's right, someone else, not me. Well, I feel I'm not. Okay, anyway. Right, so we've got that. And we could also do a container, like within the container.
I feel like that would be less exciting with a button. Because it would just be, and you would, I think, have to also apply like position, relative, overflow, hidden type stuff to make it actually contained.
Cool. We can do double clicks. That's. I think this is a good API, being able to specify the event, and we could also do it like mouse over.
Ooh, so it's both of those.
It should be able to do it. Oh no, I have to reload the page, right? Yeah. So like it's now both. It's mouse over and also double clicks work too. So anyway, that seems like a reasonable API. Okay. I love the fact, Josh, that you're like you're sort of typing as well in Twitch at the same time. I'm like, who has commented? Oh, it's Josh. He is in both places.
We make a good team.
Yeah. So, what else would we do?
I have a suggestion.
Yeah.
I honestly, this is not technically interesting, I think, but I just thought of it and I'm excited about it. Set the emojis as like, because you can specify which emojis. It's an array of string. Set that as the element's text content, like the unique characters from the element's text content.
Okay. So const cars.
This is like a nice little interview question of how to get that.
Oh well. This won't be quite right if they are emojis already, right? Because they're not. They won't split correctly. As in, we'll get bits like halves of the emojis, but it's True. Acceptable probably. And we could do something like, oh, what are they? Emojis. Okay.
Nice. I've never seen this. I just kind of want to know what it looks like.
I prefer this, right?
I also prefer that, yeah.
Oh, and we should also remove our limit of 2, because that is going to, right. And also, let's give ourselves some vertical height, right? So we'll just what am I getting wrong here?
Why isn't that
Okay,
working?
so let's try this again. Yes!
I
It works very nicely. Cool.
thought that was cute. So by the way, I should note the reason why there's a React integration is not actually anything like this. This is nothing like what I've done with it so far, and I'm very excited that you came to this. The React integration is just like a use Konami emoji blast hook in React land.
Yeah.
So like you can say in your function component like when this if this component is on the screen, then like Konami emoji blast is live, and when it gets unmounted, we no longer are live. So that's what I was envisioning, and I don't know what the equivalent would be in Viewland if there is an equivalent.
Yeah, we could
Does
do
that make
that
sense?
totally. And hey, Neil, that's very kind of you to say. And yeah, just drop it. You know, if it doesn't matter if it's work. You know, it doesn't matter if it directly contributes to your income or anything like that. Just leave the other meat. You know, this is where it's at.
Yeah.
And Daniel,
Yeah.
it's nice to see you. Okay, so we can basically. I also think we should probably, if the mouse is within the element, we should actually use that rather than the center. Like I think that's a nice improvement maybe to have. So let's try that just very, very quickly. So basically, we can access the event there. So, oh no, it could be anything. It could be any event. So if event dot, now let's just say for a moment, let's just pretend it's a mouse event so I can get access to the, okay, if event dot client X, client Y, is that what we're looking at? Okay.
That's what the doc site uses, yeah.
Okay. So basically we have an event, and so we're going to want to say if client X in event, and okay, yeah, we might as well do that. And basically if event.clientX is less than, yeah, that's, no, this is what I want. Oh, interesting.
I don't think you need to do this check at all. Is there a
No?
situation where the event would be sourced from a position on the page that's outside of the element?
A keyboard.
If there's a keyboard, that I don't believe it has a client X.
Aha, okay, that's cool. So we can basically say or mouse event. Let's just add it in. Okay, so basically we would do something like event dot client X in event, event client X, and we do the same for, there we go, and let's see if that works. So yes,
Nice.
okay. That's better, right? So now, because now it's going to, oh no, we have a keyboard client X. So basically, like we could just do something like this, but it's not as good because it, so yeah, there's a keyboard client X as well. It's just set to 0. So the instance of mouse event, can you do that? Like, but it also feels like that is that the right thing to do? Yeah, we could try it. Look at that. The key, it's still counting because I think it's just an event class. So that mouse event might just be a type rather than a, like it's not, it doesn't work basically. The keyboard is an instance of mouse event as far as JavaScript is concerned. So I think we would have to.
Interesting.
What? Yeah.
Okay. I just think these old DOM APIs are fascinating and weird.
Absolutely. Okay, so here we go. So we have better behavior now. Where am I? Yep, working fine and nice. More precise. Okay, super. So let's just commit our changes and say feet support. Oh, we want to import type emoji options settings. Is that right? Emojiblast settings. Yes, that's right. Why is that not working? Oh. Okay. So basically that should be typed more correctly. And this also should be, what is this? Event or mouse event avoid. Yeah, because now we have this thing. So
by the way, event or mouse event. I believe the or mouse event is redundant in that type.
Oh, Josh.
I believe
Do you want to
mouse
see what
event is
happens
a
if I remove
subset.
it?
I do want to see what happens if you remove it.
You're right. But this. So
I'm wrong.
So basically, if we do that, then client X isn't in event. So you do event dot like client X. It's there, but it's unknown because it's not, as far as it's concerned, it's not a possibility.
You're right.
So you're right. It is like I feel like this is wrong. It feels like event should be a union of all of the possible events, but I don't think it is. I think event is like the lowest level thing, and like mouse event implements it. So, or like adds properties to it. So event doesn't, it's just like a basic thing, and mouse event on top of it extends it. So like it extends UI event, and UI event extends event. So that's why.
Nice.
Right. Okay, so we have feat support directive usage. Cool, and sync that up. By the way, I suspect CI will fail, probably, if I were to have a look at this Git repo, but I'm trying not to, because that's like the least important thing, right? Okay, so Josh, what are we going to do? We're going to do something.
Do a binding or directive or some such for Konami Emoji Blast.
A directive for it.
BA. Directive.
So how would that? Oh no, we're going to do hooks. Does
View have hooks?
How would that work though? Like only if you do the keyboard pattern within that element.
Yeah, let me give you the user story then. The user story is I, as a user, want to integrate the Konami emoji code on my website with as little code as possible. So let's say I'm like a Vue, perhaps even a Nuxt user. Like I have, let's say, a Vue website. And I don't want to have to muck around with like imports and whatever. I just want to be able to like, in as few lines as code, just integrate this little Easter egg. Because my product manager told me I have no time budget for it. And if I spend any time on this, I'll be reprimanded for not, contributing to company revenue. So how would I... in what?
So basically it's already done. So you just type somewhere in the page, right? Because it already calls the initialize. Well, you're saying...
So that's a Nuxt integration. Would you ever want like a Vue integration separate from the next one?
I see. The Vue integration. And you would want that to run when? When the element is in the DOM.
Yeah.
So... because it feels like just importing the initialized code is the thing that you would do. Because also there's no way of removing it, right? Or does this return a... oh, it does have a subscribe. Okay, so we could do... let's do this, which we should do anyway. So what we want to do is... so we're going to... actually, we're not going to... we're going to say let... unsubscribe. Oh, Josh, I have a question for you, and I do not know the answer to it. So just to be clear, it's not a trick question. And basically, we're going to say on scope dispose. So this would be like if the user is about to navigate to another page. On scope dispose, we are going to unsubscribe from the Konami code, which it feels like that might not be necessary, but it might be a good thing to do anyway. Right, so here's the question. So TypeScript ESLint complains, you didn't think I was going to like waylay you with this, but it complains about like void as a union type. So if I say something like, and you're going to tell me why all my functions are badly typed, okay? Because I use this extensively. So I would say something like, do something maybe, and if this, then I'm just going to return. Otherwise, I'm going to return, yeah, that's the one. Otherwise, I'm going to return like 40. And I'm going to say it's either going to be a void or a number. And you're saying I should use undefined.
Yes. The docs could probably be improved, but although in reality, like at runtime, void and undefined end up both meaning undefined when used as a return type, the conceptual theory of the void type is more akin to never. Like this is the, not only am I returning undefined, in fact, you don't even know what I'm returning. Don't give a crap about what I'm returning. I could return something. You should not care about or use this. So you're saying for this function, either I'm returning a number or I'm returning something you don't care about.
Yeah.
Which could also be a number, which is weird. Like there's no way to determine what is a void number versus an actual number. Does that make sense at all?
Yes. But so you would say basically this should be undefined or number. And what's it complaining about? Oh, just that it's not used. I'm trying to think. I'm sure I must have tried that. But maybe I think Nuxt fonts I encountered this. So the no invalid void type. So basically I think disabled this thing here. So I'm going to re-enable it. And by the way, also ban types. I often use, so here's another thing. I often
open pull request. Yes, I know what you're going to say. So excited about this. Please continue.
Strings, magic strings.
What?
Okay.
Maybe not.
Type.
Maybe I'm wrong.
Magic string is hey or string. Now, if I want type completion for this, then what I want to do is see a drop down. But I don't, unless I do this.
String and that's a TypeScript thing.
I get a drop down. So that
drop.
Yep.
Sorry, I'm just getting the pull request link real quick, which will resolve all of your issues. Fun fact, we're normally on really good relations with the TypeScript team. They are real annoyed at us, rightfully so, about making what you are trying to do such a pain in the butt. So for our next upcoming major version in TypeScript ESLint V8, we're splitting out the ban on the empty object type from the ban types rule, and then making a dedicated no empty object type rule, or maybe it'll be some rename or something, which, thank you for that emoji reaction, which will explicitly allow intersections such as what you were doing.
Exactly.
I was right. Yeah.
Yeah. Absolutely. Totally agree. I am so glad for this because basically, you're right. I mean, like it's a terrible type. And also stuff like function and don't use it, people. Like when I opened a ton of pull requests to add, to update ESLint on lots of Nuxt module repos, and I found lots of people using capital F function. No, please do not do that.
No.
And lots of other cases. And also this, people using it to mean a record. They'd be something like interface, some stuff, some object, like this, and they not realizing that this is not going to, it is not, record string unknown or whatever, which is what they think they're typing. So, I mean, I love the rule. It's just that I do really, really value the nice auto-completion that this gives. And so, anyway.
Yeah. Can I go on my high horse for a few minutes? Would that be all right? Do we have time?
Yeah, ascend that horse.
So,
mount it and speak.
Yeah. Nay. Yeah, so everything you're saying is right and reasonable. I'm not going to disagree with you. This is all yes-anding, not no-butting. There are a few structural issues in the ecosystem that have led to us being, for a very long time, in the situation where a core built-in rule to TypeScript ESLint is technically right in many cases, technically annoyingly wrong in others, and just a real pain in the butt and confusing to everyone and constantly getting disabled. The real root of the issue is that people don't fund open source enough, so we haven't had a dedicated maintenance team, as you, Daniel, have talked about before. But what happened there is we never really thought about the ban types rule too closely because we were doing other more urgent, at least in our perspective, urgent stuff. Clearly, this was urgent all along. And I was always surprised at how few people because I did a deep dive on this last week, and I looked around, and we've actually had very, very few people report what you were describing as issues to us in TypeScript ESLint, which is confusing, right? Like this is a clear and present pain to many people. I would have thought we'd receive more noise about it, but so few people feel confident about linting, and so few people feel confident about TypeScript types that the confluence of people who feel confident about both of those to the point of reporting on us, let alone having the time to do so, a very small number. But yes, so really the ban types rule does two things. It allows users to specify types they want to ban, and it provides some defaults that are really nice. So what we're going to do is we're going to split those defaults out into their own dedicated rules, so they're more configurable, better documented, and so on.
Yeah.
So that's what we should have done like ages ago. It just, we didn't receive enough noise on it to really prioritize it, because we've never, prioritized things that we don't receive noise on.
I'm not saying that you should have. I'm not complaining about this.
Yeah.
I think the reason you haven't received noise is because this type, and also maybe the void one as well, they're going to be encountered by library authors, and people who will just switch off the rule, or they will just add an ESLint ignore directly above it, and that's it. So they know how to get around it. They know how to customize it. It's not a big deal. The TypeScript ESLint people have a reason for creating this rule in their wisdom, and we're not going to we're just going to work around it locally. I can tell you that's why.
It's this bizarre user story where for most of our rules, it makes sense to turn it off until you're ready to deal with it. But in this rule, somehow counterintuitively, the more you know about TypeScript, the less you need this rule. So it's like this, inverse relationship of willingness to work with it and actual need for it. So like you, Daniel, you don't need this rule. You know what you're doing. But the people who don't need the rule, the people who do need the rule, well, they don't have the time to really deeply dive into it and report stuff on this. Like you said, it's this bizarre two sets of user stories that you wouldn't think intersect, and then the result is just we only get one a year, really, really experienced person telling us, hey, this is wrong. Bizarre. Anyway, I'm off the horse. I just thought it was really cool.
No. I think that is a very interesting point, and a very valid one as well. Okay, so here's what we're going to do then. We're going to create we're going to create a folder. I try and make my Nuxt module runtime code mirror the shape of a real Nuxt app, because it helps people understand conceptually what's going on with the different files. So these are plugins, and so they're going to be in a plugin. And we're going to create a composables directory and create a composable, which will be Konami. And the composer will be export function use Konami code, use Konami emojiblast, whatever, Konami code. And basically what this is going to do is just exactly what we do here, and so we'll probably actually even use it internally. So we'll do this, and then we'll do this. And the good news is that on Nuxt Ready will work even if Nuxt is already mounted. It will just run straight away. So what we can do here is run this any number of times, and it will automatically will also do on unmounted the same. And we will just quickly test if it exists. Okay, so that should cover our bases in terms of a composable. So we would be able to do something like this here. Okay, so that now just encapsulates the functionality. So a user can do this in Nuxt, we just do this. But I mean, we'll refactor this whole thing and move it back into your monorepo, which we can do on stream as well if we want. But basically this, if you were to open our playground and turn off the Konami code, we also need to register this automatically. So we'll do, ooh, hello, what happened? If we go in here and say basically, we're going to add an auto import, which will be from resolve runtime composables Konami, and it is going to be use emojiblast Konami code. So if we then open our playground again, now the Konami code shouldn't be registered by default. Okay, so if I do up, up, down, down, left, right, BA, nothing happens. And then if I could also just like have forgotten the code, but I can also now say use an emojiblast Konami code, refresh, and then up, down, down, left, right, BA, and it works.
Hey!
So that is probably the easiest way to get someone. But the thing is, the thing that it adds over just running the command is that it handles the auto scope dispose and unsubscribe. Like, right? Because this is the bit that somebody would have to be repeating all the time. And the idea that you have to do it on Nuxt Ready as well. Oh, the other thing we can do is like if it's running on the server, we're just going to return and do nothing, because there's no concept of registering this on the server. So that will just mean that this can be tree shaken out, even if it's being called here, and you just don't need to worry about it. So that seems cool. Okay, so basically I think we should be able to add this as a feature.
Nice.
Cool.
I'm really happy about this. This is like the thing I wanted the most, honestly. Just a nice little use, nice. You know, that and we can, module.
And we can just stick that in, like because at the moment it's all in the Nuxt module. I often find it's really helpful even when adding, like building a view library, to build it in a Nuxt module first. It's just simple. And then you can extract it out into like the core view. Because all we need to do is move that into emojiblast/view and then call it. Like now it will be super simple. Instead of adding it from here, we're just going to add it from, you know, like emojiblast view. And the module integration will be exactly the same. Behavior will be exactly the same. The only thing, like if I already want to get it set up, then I could actually just, ooh, that won't work. It should be a relative one. It should be like this. Oops, this. So but I can also import it because I've just registered it like as a Nuxt auto import. So I can do it like this. And that way when I implement the thing, it should just.
Can you do that? A little red squiggly there.
Yeah, it's complaining about me. Why? Which might just be because I haven't dev. It is complaining about it. Maybe I can't do it. Okay.
Look at that error message. That's beautiful.
Which one? Oh, this. It's such an informative error message, isn't it? It's just like you read it and you're like, I instantly know where the problem is. So
yeah.
We desperately need to improve that. Like honestly, I know Puya's been working on something at the moment. I'm not sure how far he's come. It might be worth retackling that somehow. Okay, so no, you explained it really well, really clearly, Josh. So I mean, I was impressed.
Thanks.
I thought it was good. Oh, what's going on? The same thing? Or maybe is it possible I didn't? It seems fine. No, okay, so we're still getting a problem. So there is an issue. What's the problem? Why would this? Let's try the prepare step again. Whoops.
Can I perform more user research on you? Since you've so nicely come into two of my, what was the banned types rule, and what was the other TypeScript ESLint thing we were talking about?
The void.
Oh, the
void return.
Void type. Yeah. What other shenanigans do you have going on with TypeScript ESLint that I can get all smug about?
Okay, let me open my website and see what I did, because I probably disabled some rules, and that would be a very good way of like figuring out the. Oh yeah, I banned.
First of
No
all, how
explicit
dare
any.
you? Who do you think you are? Second of all, ooh.
So where do I use it? Okay, so let's get rid of that and ban types. The no undef is, I think, probably essential, and actually probably should make it into the Nuxt core rules, because for specifically Nuxt config.js, because or maybe not. What is the config.js? A style lint? No. What do I have? Commit lint? I'm not sure I need that, because it's not like I have a. Anyway, it's a bit weird. Let's see. Nuxy prepare, and so are you familiar with the Nuxt ESLint integration?
I have skimmed the docs, but that's about it. I do find it amusing, actually. Fun fact, we in TypeScript ESLint don't actually support ESLint v9 officially yet. It all works, but like there are probably edge cases we don't know about. So our v8 is going to be what actually supports ESLint 9.
So basically, so it generates the config. So it based on your Nuxt project. So it will be able to say things like your pages directory is in source pages, and here are your composables and components, and different ESLint rules apply to different directories based on what they are. And so flat config works beautifully for this. And so we're able basically to create a config. So for example, layouts. So Vue has this ESLint rule, like Vue components shouldn't be a single word because they get confused with native HTML elements. But the fact is that we have this like a layouts directory, and you never use those things as element. Like you don't use it as a component. You call a Nuxt layout component and pass the name of the layout. So it's totally fine for them to be single word components. It's not an issue. So we can like disable that warning for that directory because it's just not relevant. And so this way, users don't. But we can't ship it as a config because users can customize where that directory lives. And so if we had a config, it then needs to be like the user has to pass the array, and they have to add their own config. It's super complex and adds friction. But this way, we use the resolved options of their actual project to generate the rules which actually apply. Which anyway, I am super.
I really like that.
It's really nice.
Yeah, that's really nice.
Okay,
dude,
so
we're still trying to get Vercel to ship the recommended TypeScript ESLint settings in Next.js. This is the actual hot take, clickbait, fire, whatever that I was warning about. You're so far ahead of the Next.js ecosystem when it comes to linting. It is upsetting to me in a great way. Congratulations. You've hurt me.
Thank you. Well, thank you. Okay, so what are the I don't think I mind. Like a lot of these other things are. I don't think I run up against a lot of other issues, but I really appreciate it. I'm not trying to dunk on any other framework. So I'm
worrying him. This is what's happening.
Someone's as we speak, someone's clipping it and sending it to Guillermo and be like, yes, Daniel and Josh are there. They're just dunking on Nuxt. No, I mean I think. I'm really glad, and I should say also that this is totally Anthony Fu, who has we've had a number of folk who have been interested and have pushed this forward, but in the end it was Anthony who was who basically did it, pulled it all together, and so it is a very nice solution, I think, to a lot of things. And one of the things that it doesn't do, for example, deliberately, it doesn't lint by default in development, because it should work quite well in your IDE with autosave, and then you can implement it as a CI or a build step. You can enable linting in development if you want, like, but you know why it
So
adds.
just to be clear, when you say linting in development, you mean blocking the local dev build from rendering on lint failures?
So I think it doesn't block. Let's see what it does. I don't think it blocks, but I think it runs it in parallel. But let me see. So here is my site. And we have lint failures. Oh, why is it not? Oh. Here's my site. And we have lint failures. So let's change my config option. I have ESLint. I enable a stylistic config. You know how I love it, Josh. And if I enable checker to true, then this now will align with the process. Oh, I need to install it, it seems. Yeah, so now it's displaying my lint errors here. I doubt that it blocks the build, okay, but I would need to check. I would need to check that plugin. So vite plugin ESLint2. What does it do? It. I think I hear someone. Hello.
Best stream ever!
You're coming for a cuddle. Okay. Was a good cuddle.
Bye. Spot of row.
Bye bye. Josh says bye too. Okay.
Oh my god. This is the best stream I've been on in months. Oh my god.
Huh. But largely made so not by the topic, but by the coming of Ned. Okay, yeah.
Yeah.
No, I agree. Okay, so basically we have build start. It looks like there's a worker. So that will be probably async. So yeah, we're posting messages. Like this seems good to me, right? So like it's not blocking the main thread. It's in a worker thread and it's running it, like running ESLint there. But still, I wouldn't run it in dev mode because your IDE, like it's obviously a personal choice, but your IDE will tell you when there are things. Half of the bugs, like half of the things you'll see have autofix rules applied, and so they shouldn't actually make it into. Anyway, like I would personally add like a pre-commit hook to catch those kind of things. But
yeah, I agree.
I know
there's like in development mode. Oh, sorry.
No, I was just gonna say I know this is controversial, but over to you.
I don't think it's controversial at all. I think the only most of the controversy around linting comes from old constraints that are no longer true or new constraints that used to not be. For example, a pre-commit lint hook is no longer a good idea. It might have previously been a good idea before type aware or type check linting, but nowadays the problem is twofold. One, a change to one file can cause lint failures in many unrelated, uncommitted to files unstaged. And two, linting can become really slow now because it can be dependent on the type checker in terms of performance and literally. So a commit lint hook might have been like, a half second 5 years ago, but now it might take many seconds to run, which is a pain in the rear. So it's not a bad idea. It's just the trade-offs are really annoying.
So what would you do then?
I think basically what you have, which is I don't even show on the CLI lint errors in any of my sites on like Remix or Next.js or anything. So I agree with you. Like that's annoying. If I'm in development, I might be like messing around with modules. I don't want to see all that. And then I have a CI check, and then they show up. Actually, have you seen vscode.eslint.customizations? I think is the name of the setting.
Maybe. But maybe not.
I'm getting it up locally. On your VS Code settings file, you might like this.
I'm there.
eslint.rules.customizations.
Yeah.
I just posted in the
Ooh.
chat. So one big confusion that people have had with linting is, why does it show in the same editor squiggly color as TypeScript? Like
Yeah.
they're both red. It's very confusing to people how you're getting type checked complaints in both. So this just downgrades them all to warning. So
Interesting.
it's just a UI treatment. It's the same in
Yeah.
CI, same in the terminal, but in your UI, you no longer get confused without having to read the error message.
Cool. I am going to add that as to my personal ESLint config and just do
Yay.
that. Boom. Done. Okay, that seems good to me. That's super cool. To answer Byte Tourist, we are using something called guest star on Twitch, which normally you would think is over the top, but on this case, obviously it is fair. Josh is a guest star, so that is how. And it's nice because it basically, you can see, although it's tiny, you can see Josh's little Twitch username under his video thing. And it also means, the key thing here is that it means he can see my screen. So there are lots of other ways of getting video, but it's hard if you'd wanting to sync somehow. And also, if Josh wanted to share his screen, I could pull his screen in as well, and we could stick it on the left, and I don't know. That would be chaos, but it would be probably fun chaos. But it seems like a good thing. Someone also created another tool called Ping. Oops. Ping.
Ow.
This, which I think is basically the same feature, and probably is better, but I am going to use the free built-in feature until it doesn't.
I did a trial of Ping a bit back, and even a year or two ago, it was fantastic. It was really nicely done. Shout out ping.gg, but I'm not paying for that. I don't have that money for something when there's a free version available.
Exactly. Again, for me, this is fun. So I'm not a content creator. I do this because it's more fun to code with friends, right? So I don't want to be spending. Actually, I don't think I spend anything on streaming. It's I don't know about you, Josh. I use OBS. I don't know half of the thing. I don't know anything about Twitch or really how to do anything. So the ignorance is not feigned. It is basically real.
I think there's a certain joy in not being a master of your tooling in that way. There's an authenticity in going on Twitch with someone who's not super polished, content creator. They're two separate experiences for me. Both valid, both good, but I want to fall into I'm just here to hack around and play with friends. That camp makes me a lot happier.
Yeah, exactly. I saw an interesting article by who was it? It was I know who it was. It was Chance. Chance the dev. And he tweeted an article on content creators, this one here. And he basically found it, so this is the article, and he talks about what he personally listens to or consumes in terms of content, and the whole explorers who learn in public and authorities who broadcast opinions. And he basically leans. I think that's a fair summary of. I don't know if it's exhaustive, but I mean, you definitely those categories do exist, right? So people who are basically doing things and sharing it, and but aren't opining about But then there are also authorities who are this is the way you should do it, and don't do this other way. And I honestly, I guess I probably do fall a little bit into that category sometimes when I start sort of complaining about Nuxt or doing things in a certain way. But basically, what Chance is saying is that actually exploring is a much for him is a much more attractive quality, and I think certainly that resonates with me in terms of the idea of exploring, not being too opinionated, not being willing to change your point of view, not being like unduly influenced either by. It's not like you are paid to be one thing, or like, do you know, it's you're a. It seems like
You're
it
looking for a
fits.
term.
It fits with joy and playfulness, and like that's the whole thing that I love about tech Twitter, is that like there's this sort of community of people who are making magic and saying, hey, come over here, see what this is, cool thing over here, someone did this. Like that is so much nicer, and because there is a whole corner of tech Twitter that is full of gatekeeping. It's like, no, this is the way to do it. And honestly, the phrase that I think expresses that for me is like skill issue. The way people sort of just throw that thing around, it is such a dismissive thing. It's just like, talk about a way of putting someone down and basically saying, oh, you couldn't make it work because you lack the skill. It's just, I hate it. So yes. So anyway, there is something true in this, I think.
I agree. It's funny. I've been thinking about this a lot lately. Honestly, I until recently I was like a twice a week Twitch streamer, just purely in the Explorer category, at least trying to be purely an Explorer.
Yeah.
In my mind, I had phrased it internally as influencer rather than authority, and educator as like an intermediary, because I think all three, explorer, educator, influencer, or authority, they all have value, right? Like if the opinion is good, it is good to broadcast it. For example, like care about accessibility. That's not something we have to have a nuanced debate on for the definition of Boolean should you care. How you care is a whole thing. But so there are some opinions that, should be black and white most of the time. Anyway, it depends. But it's so hard.
That like the disjunction though between like the opinions that you think everyone should be on board with this thing. Like sometimes people, anyway, like there is a weird like gap there sometimes that I find it hard to rationalize. But I can come back to that another time. Anyway, you're saying there's
yeah. As I said, I'm like, okay, well, but then the challenge is, each of those has their challenges, which makes it inherently more difficult to stay in that role and do a good job of that role as you get more followers. Like for people who are trying to be educators, like I don't know, I'm doing this because I want to show off how to do this the right way. The more followers you have, the more likely it is you're going to get taken out of context. If you're trying to get more followers, it's naturally easier to do so with like quicker takes, more content. You have to be really regular, which means you can't put as much effort into it. It becomes a whole thing. So you get to these really, really big follower accounts where everything they say becomes a quick meme or a quick tweet or something. And it's almost, they're hamstringing themselves with their success. Whereas someone like me, who has very few regular followers relative to like a true industry leader, like I have the freedom and ability to have really nuanced opinions and to say things like it depends and actually be listened to. So I don't know. I don't have any answers here or like, corporeal conclusions, but it is bizarre that we have these three tracks ish of online in person, and each of them is kind of impossible to do right at scale.
Yeah. I think the thing at scale, I mean, it's, I saw someone, I read a very interesting and horrifying article about how people can be changed by their audience. And it was it was a case study of a guy who basically started out, I don't know, I think he was a violinist. He had this great talent for playing the violin. And then he started streaming and putting videos out. And then he happened to put a video out. I mean, I won't get into the details, but basically he happened to put up a video on this one particular sort of area, and people really loved it. And so he put more and more out, and it ended up like changing his everything from his body shape to like I mean, it was a very extreme example of somebody basically being changed by, because people were watching that. So that's what he did. And he ended up sort of pursuing this sort of concept of having a lot of people watching him, and became incredibly successful. But at what cost? He was a different person by the end of it. And that is totally chilling, right? The idea that, and I think that the thing is that it doesn't have to happen intentionally. It's not that people are necessarily saying, I'm going to sell myself out for views. But when that is the thing that brings the reward, when that's the thing that makes someone feel like I'm valued, I'm listened to, I'm a success, then it does changes people, and they end up pursuing the thing that brings that about. Like, that's terrifying? Does it terrify you as well?
I was about to ask you the same question, because you and I both vaguely tangentially similar in a way that we have been over the last 1 to 4 years been doing more conference talks, building more followers on the platforms, and you I think have a lot more visibility than me. Both because you're a much nicer person and because you do stuff that like is directly in front of people's faces, like with Nuxt and so on. Are you? So I'm terrified, but I also feel like I do linting. Like no one gives a crap about what I do. I don't have this fear, but you're at real risk, aren't you?
Of being changed myself. So I mean, one is I'm not that popular. Like like when you look at people like, I don't know, the Primogen or something like that, who genuinely have hundreds of thousands of people who are sort of following them or watching them, then yes, I think that's just a different order of things. I think you and I are both fortunate enough not to be in that camp, but I mean, I think that yeah, I think it is a genuine. I think you want to make sure that your incentives align with the direction you want to grow in yourself. So the right. So like I think the what is the thing that you are pursuing, and what is the direction that you want to grow in personally. And I think the concept of pursuing an audience, this is spicy hot take that I am like just off the top of my head, and speaking personally rather than not trying to condemn anyone else, but like the concept of pursuing an audience, like I want to have this many people following me, I think is a toxic one. I honestly don't think there's any value in that as an objective. I think the reason that I follow people is because I think they're interesting. I have something to say. I want to listen to what they're saying. So the thing to aspire to is have something to say. Be somebody who is contributing positively to other people's lives. You will, as a side effect, have people follow you. But don't pursue the idea of people following you, because that is what produces the froth, the scum, the engagement bait, like all of the stuff that we think objectively makes tech Twitter worse, or makes it's this concept that you have to pursue, like people listening to you as a thing in itself. And I think it's toxic. So that is a total unvarnished spicy take.
We finally got a hot take out of you. So I agree in theory, but in practice, I think it's grayscale. You and I, let's assume that you and I have great opinions, just for the sake of discussion, and let's
Yeah.
assume that you and I are completely unwilling to do the froth, to whatever, to like do the engagement-y clickbaity stuff. That means we inherently will have a disadvantage in certain ways compared to people who do. And arguably, isn't it a good idea to, if you believe your opinion is right, if you are, as a member of the, Nuxt core team, really well informed on Nuxt, wouldn't you want to amplify your opinion so that you can promote good Nuxt practices, set the tone of the community that you'd like to be set?
So I absolutely am familiar with this argument, and it's called the ends justify the means. And I think people
Ah,
have come across this from time to time in history, and I think there is no merit in it. So I like it's very very attractive. Sorry, I'm in my unvarnished phase, so I do apologize if that. But like I think I'm not like I think basically it's so attractive because it appeals to the benevolent side. You're like You have a good opinion. You want people to hear it. And there are things that you can do. So you can become unnuanced. For example, this is a really common way that people do this. They think, okay, so I want people to move in this direction. And if I just tell them an accurate summary of the statements, it won't motivate them enough. So I have to go over. I have to dial I remove the nuance, I make it absolute, I remove the possibility that there is another point of view. And now people are moving in that direction. And I see that a lot. And I also see that not just in tech, but I see that in general in terms of when people are trying to persuade people. And I think there is no merit in it. I think it is it's that way you start selling your soul, because you are now at this point saying, I'm going to say something which is not totally true because I want to achieve an objective. And even if that's a good objective, it's bad for you as a person. And maybe there are some people who have done this and have emerged unchanged, but I think it's a bad thing. It's bad for discourse as well. In general, conversation is, I think these days, more and more polarized. And it's because people are removing the nuance in order to make people do stuff. Think about it as power. People are basically saying, I want to pick the blunt force thing because I want people to do what I want. So in other words, this is an exercise of power. And the thing that you're doing to become more powerful, to become more influential, is remove truth slightly. I'm not talking about going from true to false. I'm talking about slightly removing nuance and qualification that you might otherwise put in there. And I genuinely think this is so dangerous, but it's so dangerous because it appeals to the thing that you care, the thing that you care about, because you think, is not this objective good? Is not this end result good? But honestly, that would be the way that the road to hell is paved with good intentions. It's that is what happens. People buy into the idea that they buy into that. I'm sorry, I'm ranting, and you probably have really, really valuable things to say, so I will stop. But people buy into the idea that my opinion is more valuable than my integrity. And that is, and I realize it's really easy to justify just dropping the caveat. It doesn't feel like you're sacrificing your integrity. But basically, you end up saying that the thing that you want to achieve is more valuable than your own character. And that is, I don't think, ever the case.
I wholeheartedly
But you can disagree
agree
with me.
nuance.
It is okay. I give
No,
you
no, I
permission.
agree. You're responding to a very large swath of what I was referring to. I agree. I think if your mission is to, for example, improve the discourse around your framework, lying, which is a superset of, saying things without the necessary caveats and so on, does not improve that discourse in the long run. Even if it, forces an objectively good opinion in the short term, you discredit yourself. Even if you're not changed at all, as you said, you discredit yourself. You make the discourse worse. You encourage the use of badness. So the thing that's sticking with me though is that there are very clear things we don't want to do. You and I both don't want to engage in clickbait. We don't want to waste our time with stupidities, so to speak. But we still need to compete with people who are engaging that stuff. Just practically speaking, the headspace of a Twitter user is limited. And it's much easier, especially for new developers, to go into the very direct, do this, don't do that. It's very appealing. We all fall into that. Whenever I go for view docs, because I'm not a common view person, I just go with whatever Daniel Rowe says. So I think the question is not whether we should engage in the bad behaviors. That's a no. The question is how do we make the good behaviors appealing enough, as you said, align the incentives so that we are at a relatively less unlevel playing field in competing with the very large single faceted viewpoints, and that is hard. I don't know how to do that.
I think it is very hard. And also I think that there's a broader question of, because there are things, so effectively that's eloquence, right? So you can say things in a more or less persuasive way. And I also think it's hard work to craft a clickbait which is true. It's harder than creating a clickbait which is partly not true. But it's possible, I think. So I think it is possible, and I think some people are really good at this, really good at sort of very simply, very clearly saying something which is incredibly compelling, but also totally true. So it's not like you have to have, someone says, hey, I'd like you to talk for 30 seconds about your whatever, your opinion. And like, you have to be able to say, not, I can't accurately convey all the caveats in 30 seconds. I have to have, 5 minutes at least. Like, you have to be able to express things simply, but faithfully. And I think it's possible, but it just might be harder work than expressing them simply and removing the. But I mean, like, I don't in any way, by the way, feel like we are coming at this totally from the same point of view. And I think, if I'm not saying be boring, right? Like, so I don't know. I'm not the reason I'm not Josh, if you want to have amazing thumbnails on Twitter that pull people in and make people want to watch, I have zero problem with that. Like, that is, it can be part of a move towards less, but like, that doesn't mean that. I think I'm much more like, it's what is driving you, what is pulling you, and why you're sort of moving in the direction you're moving. And I think this sort of capture concept does come from being driven, like your incentives being coming from the wrong place.
I think the thumbnail thing, by the way, is a really interesting correlation versus causation. There's nothing inherently wrong with having thumbnails that have like a surprised face or whatever. Yeah, that thing, that's fine. In fact, that's probably better because that's how the algorithm works. That's how the human mind, that gets you clicks. But people who, not all of them, but many people who have figured out and taken the time to make these, reaction thumbnails are also the people who are doing the like very quick, like very unnuanced content. So a lot of people have associated the two, and mathematically, a large percentage of the time that association works, but it's not always true. Like, there are quite a few content creators who actually do use the the silly thumbnails and actually have good content.
Yeah. So, But like, I mean, but yes. So in other words, yeah. So I'm not taking aim at that, and I'm also very much not taking aim at success. Like, people who are successful and have like a lot of people, I don't know, listening to them. Like, that doesn't mean in any way that they are sort of selling their souls. Like, I don't think that is the case.
Yeah. Do you think it's possible to become an extremely successful content creator, an authority in this case, while also continuing to do meaningful work in the the things that you're trying to be an authority figure on?
Why wouldn't it be possible? I mean, I know that people do tend to sort of say at some point, like, oh, I'm going full-time creating a course. That is presumably just because it's I think I could see you, Josh, for example, continuing to maintain, all the stuff you maintain now, but also having a lint course or something like that.
I would definitely make a lint course if any single human being would pay for that who isn't you.
Squiggles. No, I think why wouldn't they?
It's a time investment. They're all time investments. And actually, the example I give of someone who's successfully doing this is Matt Pocock, because Matt Pocock is a deep TypeScript expert. I have no qualms with Matt Pocock's expertise, and his course, Total TypeScript, is wonderful.
Yeah. No, I would.
But he's not contributing to TypeScript,
No, exactly. I thought of him first, but I wasn't sure that was what you meant in terms of because he's an authority, for good reason. But he, as you say, he's not. Well, maybe I don't know. Maybe he is contributing to TypeScript, but I think he's a full-time content creator, and I think you're asking the question: can you be really successful as a content creator without being a full-time content creator?
Yeah. Or like, what level of time commitment do you need to be a content creator? And is there enough remainder after that to also, let's say, be a core maintainer of a framework like Nuxt or like TypeScript ESLint and so on?
I think there should be. But I think, I don't know. I don't know how profitable being a content creator. Like it might also be that because it's a phenomenal amount of work to create stuff. Like the reason there aren't more, I don't know, courses out there, is because they take a lot of time and effort and whatever. And I don't know. It feels like if you found something that's worth the time and effort, that also you then want to double down on your investment and say like, okay, I'm really doing this, rather than just doing this in a side.
Yeah.
But I don't know. I totally think you could. But then again, I don't know exactly how your time is broken down in terms of consultancy or open source content creation.
I don't know. I honestly don't know. I'll defer to your judgment here.
Well, I don't know. I think the other thing is that maybe people are just the number of people who genuinely want to be doing both of those things is slim. That people prefer. So you have to have a motivation for wanting to do what you're doing. Maybe the people who like being library maintainers also don't necessarily like creating videos, and the ones who do are so few that they're not enough to make a rule on. So, because you would be in that camp, right? Like you enjoy that, you're good at that, but how many other people are there that you could think of who would fall in that camp? Yeah. Like I just think too few to generalize.
+1 to Rigora X says in the chat that like there are exceptional people who get 2 views in a video. Yeah, there's a finite amount of space in the world for framework maintainers. Like Nuxt isn't going to have 50 maintainers. That's just not feasible. And there's a finite amount of space in people's mindset for content. So yeah, I agree. I think you make a really good point. That intersection, the intersection type has relatively few constituents.
I love it. You're right. If you haven't, by the way, heard of watched Anthony's set theory talk, that is very interesting. He has a number of really interesting talks about open source and also like libraries. Let's see. So he has his progressive path. He has several. So he has a progressive path. I think he has the set theory, and watch them, see them. So I'm sure these must be. Oh yes, yeah. Okay, so there's the progressive path, and there's there must be set theory. Yeah, set theory. So this is his road to open source part 1, and this is his road to open source part 2. And basically, the set theory concept is sort of when you're creating libraries or some things, how do you maximize the people who would benefit from and be users of the thing? Because the more you narrow the audience, the less possibility you have of having a successful thing in terms of benefiting a lot of people. So if you can come up with a way of creating a framework or library that benefits more on the people on the greater number of things. So he has some examples. So he gives an example of a plugin he wrote that was for VS Code users who were doing international translation and using Vue. And so the number of people who can actually use that thing and benefit from it is small. But if you look at something like Vite, which basically can be adopted by any framework and add superpowers to what they're doing, Vite is the other way. It is actually aiming for something that can work in lots and lots of places. There's no bound to it. The user base just increases. So anyways, that's a very interesting thing there, and I think related to what you were saying.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. Dude, I freaking love Anthony Fu. Everything this person touches is amazing. Even the freaking website has this like beautiful little, have you seen the marbling? I don't know what they call it. The like randomly generated background stuff. Ridiculous. Yeah. And yeah, I think that's really wise.
He has a lot to say. What is this? Amazing. Another PR. 2 minutes ago. Yeah. Aha.
This is why we stream.
This is why we stream. That's beautiful. Beautiful. Wait, this is extremely similar This is extremely similar to what we just coded. I think.
Yep.
I think, which is great. Okay, cool. I'm going to create an issue to if you want to move Nuxt module emoji blast or Nuxt emoji blast to your monorepo.
I think I would want at least 2 packages out of this. I'd want the view thing and I'd want the Nuxt thing.
Yeah.
We could do like a catch-all issue. By the way, I noticed you're not reading the contributing guidelines, Daniel. Do you not respect me as a maintainer?
Well, Josh, that burns. That really sinks deep. I will read them. What are your contributing guidelines?
It's about 7 to 8 pages worth for you to skim through.
Aha.
That's the only part. It's happening again.
What?
Look behind you. Down and to your left.
Ned! Yes, look, let me do you want to see
Can I want to show Ned my cat.
It is Josh. Josh is there.
Oh,
Look,
Josh has a cat.
It's basically the same.
Real cat. It's a black cat. Yeah.
Hi, Ned. His name's Jerry. Jerry says hi.
He says his name is Jerry, and Jerry says hi.
Is he Jerry?
The cat is called Jerry, and he is called Josh.
Hi, Ned.
This is my microphone. Ned can't hear you. I'll have to give him a headphone. Can you put this in?
Why?
You can hear what he says. Do you want to say something, Josh?
Hi, it's nice to meet you, Ned. Jerry and I both are very happy to meet you and say hi.
Did you hear that?
My ear quite. It's not. It's big for it, but it's a bit. It can't.
You're right. It's too big for your ear.
Oh.
That came through that hole.
That was the sound that you heard through there.
Did it come out there? I don't want. I don't want.
I'll be down in just a second, maybe. See you in a bit.
Beautiful, beautiful moment.
Yeah.
Am I keeping you from your children, by the way? Your child?
Well, not as such, no. Not as such.
Okay.
But we should probably wrap up.
Yeah, I just wanted to get your quick opinion on the state of funding in open source before we wrap up. Quick discussion there. That's a
State
joke.
of funding. Exactly.
I don't like how serious
I
your
was
face
about
is.
to launch into it.
Thank you for the sparkling heart emoji.
It's a good emoji. It's good. But yeah, someone can just copy that in and whatever. So, I mean, open source funding. So what have you checked out? So there's basically Polar, which is pretty cool. You come across it? Algora.
Wait. Daniel, I have had to go pee for the last like 30 minutes, and I've just been enjoying this too much to do that. But I have so many thoughts on this, and I'm sure you do too, that I don't think we have enough time to dig into all this stuff.
Okay.
You're calling my bluff, and I'm caving, man. I'm folding. There's no way.
Is that what it really is? It's like, Daniel, am I keeping you from your family? Is actually a way of Josh saying,
I have to pee.
I need to pee. So yeah, that's totally true. It's totally true. Well, it has been so much fun. We should call it a day. I guess we've done it. We've done the thing. We built a module. We have some view integrations, both a directive and also a composable, and those can be abstracted into a view package, and then we can have a Nuxt module that will easily wrap it. So that's super cool, and I hope people watching found it useful, and we'll put the video up on YouTube. I love how you're actively assigning this and adding labels and etc. etc. etc.
Yeah, no, I really appreciate you. Here's the list of things I appreciate you doing, by the way. Filing this issue, explaining this stuff to me, having a nice discussion, having me on the stream, showing me, Ned. This was great. Thanks for having me.
It has been so much fun. I really love it. I'm so glad, so glad we've had the chance to do it. So we'll do it again. So should we visit another, should we raid someone else?
Yeah.
So who do we think? So there's the Primogen talking about Rust, leaving Rust. Oh, Tej, have you seen terminal.shop? We should go there, right?
Sure.
It's basically, I don't know a great deal about it. I'm pretty sure that there's been a very, very cool, some stuff that happened out at React Miami, which obviously I missed out on being on the side of the pond. But I think... rats. Raid, come on. Is that going to work? No. There we go. Yes, they did that. They made a shop of SSH, so you could SSH in. There's also like terminal shop, I think.
That's so cool.
This is really, really fun. Like, anyway, check it out. It's very, very fun. I would absolutely raid an unknown streamer. I just have no way of discovering them in this moment. But if someone recommended it, you tell me, and we'll do that next time. Anyway, thank you everybody for being here, for coming. It's been so much fun. As always, we'll go and raid them, and then I will dash off and go give some cuddles to my boy. So, yeah, talk to you all later.